welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report is your preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda and an update from your Oshkosh City Manager.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on your City Manager's Report, your source for all the most local things happening in your city of Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming City Council meeting agenda. I'm your host, Emily Mikowski, joined by our Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick, who's going to be sitting in today for City Manager Mark Roloff, who couldn't be here. So, John, thanks for stopping down today.
Thank you for having me, Emily.
It's great to have you. We've got a few hot topics that we're going to dive into for the first half of the show.
Okay.
And then we'll take a little break and return with a review of the council agenda for Tuesday, August 11th, 2015.
Okay.
So the first thing that we want to talk about today, John, is the Neighborhood Night Out. This was a big event that happened actually last night. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what that is.
Sure, absolutely. It's really a national event, and some places call it the National Night Out, Neighborhood Night Out, but it's really grown, and it's really a fantastic opportunity for people to get out and meet their neighbors. Not only talk to protective services folks, like for example our police and firefighters are available there. But they can really get out and meet their neighbors and get to know them a little bit better.
So it's kind of like a block party idea.
It is, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. And it's gone, as I said, beyond protective services too, where we also have some planning individuals that are at the neighborhood night out, and they talk about certain things like neighborhood associations or shared neighborhood gardens or just a whole host of things as to how they can make their neighborhood not only safer but better. So
a great opportunity for not only, like you said, the police department to get on a first name basis with some of their neighbors in their areas, but also the planning and just really a chance for the city to connect with the neighborhoods here in Oshkosh.
Absolutely. No, it's been very well received by our community. I think some of the staff just remark that the food that's brought out by the neighbors in those areas is
That's
just
reason enough to come out.
Oh, it's fantastic. So, but it's really a great activity, and we hope people participate in it in the future and take advantage of the opportunity for them to get to know not only staff but their other neighbors a little bit better.
Yes. And there's more information on Neighborhood Night Out on the police department's website. You can just go to the city's website and find their website through there. But they do have lots of great information about where the night out came from, where the idea came from, and when it is every year.
Right.
So next thing that we want to talk about is something that just recently opened at the Oshkosh Public Museum, and that's the Great War to Great Gatsby exhibit. And this is a really cool exhibit. We actually were out there just after it opened that day, and it's really interesting. Have you had a chance to get out there yet, John?
I haven't had a chance, but
I
know you have. So what was it like? What did you see?
It's a really cool. It's from 1914 to 1929, and it's really neat because it focuses on Oshkosh history. We were talking before the show how it kind of is in tandem with the Payne's exhibit of the Downton Abbey.
Right, Dressing Downton.
And so it's a great complement to that. It also, however, it's all taken from the Oshkosh Museum's archives and their storage. So everything that you see in that exhibit came from Oshkosh. We saw some really cool pieces. My personal favorite was a beautiful dress that they had there. It was all beautifully embroidered. A lot of really cool uniforms like the one we're looking at right now. A lot of cool coats and outerwear. This is the aviation section of the exhibit. Some really cool, flight licenses and things like that. So it's just a really cool opportunity not only to learn about the history of that time, but also to connect it to Oshkosh.
So do you remember some of the tie-ins that they had to Oshkosh?
Oh, definitely. Well, a lot of the aviation things, obviously, EAA was very helpful in creating the aviation portion of the exhibit. But in addition to that, there's a lot of video of the Sawyer family that has not before been seen.
Wow.
So you can see a lot of the home videos of
That's
them on
cool.
vacation and them traveling. Here's my most favorite part is this beautiful dress. It's so hard not to reach out and want to take it off the mannequin because
looks
it's
beautiful.
Just beautiful.
I'm sure it'll look better on you than me, though.
Oh, I'm maybe a little bit, but you know, we never know.
It is beautiful.
So it's just really cool. With everything, there is a little plaque that has the story behind that piece too, so you can see what family it came from, who it was worn by, the story behind it. And so it's really worth getting out there. You could honestly spend hours. So we're really excited about that. Get out there and take a look at it. It's open through October. And of course, as always, you can find more information on the Oshkosh Public Museum's website.
I like
or Facebook
the Oshkosh tie-in. That's great.
Yeah, you don't see that too often in a lot of museum exhibits.
Right.
And that's what's so special that we have about the Oshkosh Public Museum, is that it all is tied into Oshkosh. All of this was in their collection already, so they've kind of arranged it in a way that we can really see it.
That's great.
Yeah, very exciting. Definitely get out there through October 18th. Again, check out the Facebook page. They've always got updates.
Okay.
John, the last thing that we want to talk about in the first half of the show is the Mayor's Breakfast. We've been plugging it for the past few weeks here, so this is our final chance as a reminder. So get out there Saturday, August 15th.
I think it's from 7 to 11, is that right?
7 to 11.
And I know that Mayor Cummings is very excited to get this going. And
Yes, every time I see him, he's got his T-shirt on.
Yeah,
his
and
Mayor's Breakfast T-shirt.
Right, with the big lake fly on
Yes.
it. Yeah, he's
New logo this year.
That's right, and I think they're having fun with that. And also, I think, you know, they want to maximize the opportunity for the citizens to take advantage of this, and again, get out and interact with elected officials. There'll be some staff members there. The food is really good, and I think it was so busy, sometimes citizens weren't available during EAA because sometimes they're gone or they vacation during that time. So the idea was, I think, to have it at a time when more citizens could take advantage of it and get together a little more with a crowd that would be able to interact with the elected officials a little easier. So
yes, and I think the turnout will be great. It's still at the Leach Amphitheater, as it usually is, just on a Saturday morning, so it'll be during the farmers market. And I think the Gus Macker tournament will also be on the same day. So the downtown of Oshkosh will just be alive that morning.
You can just move from one thing to the next, so that'll be good.
And my favorite thing about the breakfast is the eggs. I think that we saw a picture of the giant skillet of all the scrambled eggs going, so I'm looking forward to that.
It's good. I'm kind of a sucker for chocolate milk. I love that. So
they have that
I think
too.
they have chocolate milk too. So
they've got it all you can eat 7 to 11. I think it's like $5, so you really can't go wrong.
No
so
way.
We hope to see lots of people out there.
Right. Well, that sounds good.
Yes. So that's going to do it for our first half. We're going to take a little break here. When we come back, we will go through the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, August 11th. We'll be right back.
I'm Police Chief Scott Groyle. Roundabouts are new to many of us in Oshkosh, so extra caution is needed when driving them. Remember, safety is the key. Slow down. The speed limit in the roundabout is only 15 miles per hour. Avoid distraction. Focus all your attention on navigating the roundabout. Find the proper lane. Check out the signage leading up to the roundabout. Choose your lane assignment early and stay in your lane. Evaluate the situation. Take notice of what kind of vehicles are in front of you. Sometimes larger trucks need to take up both lanes of a roundabout. Think to look for pedestrians and allow them to cross when entering and exiting a roundabout. Yield to traffic on your left. You must yield to all traffic in the roundabout, and that traffic will be coming from your left. Again, safety is the key. Remember that word and what those letters represent, and your roundabout driving experience will be a smooth one. Thanks for your support.
If you have expired or unused medication, don't flush it, pour it down the drain, or toss it in the trash. Safely dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box located inside the Oshkosh Police Department. It's convenient and anonymous, safe and secure, and it's open to everyone 24/7. Drop off your prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, pet meds, and more. Keep drugs out of the reach of children and out of our water supply. Dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box. For more information, visit the Oshkosh Police Department website at oshkoshpd.com.
Welcome back to your City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Emily Mikowski, joined by your Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick. Now it's that time of the show. We're going to take a look at the upcoming City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, August 11th, 2015. Now, the first thing that we want to talk about here, John, is item number 7, Resolution 15-368, is the Armory Area Stormwater Detention Basin, and this is an approved change order for a public works contract. So we've talked about this before a little bit in the past. Maybe you can kind of refresh us on this project.
Sure, this is one of the projects that has been developed in conjunction with some of our stormwater management plans, and it's a significant initiative. It's a pretty good sized detention basin, and it's by the Armory. For people that aren't familiar with that, that's kind of a landmark that they can think about in regard to where the pond is actually placed. So it's just a change order, but it signals that it's almost finalized and ready to go. We can see some pictures.
It looks great.
Yeah,
looks a lot different than the big hole we were seeing them digging last
right.
summer.
Yeah, I think it looks really nice. And there were some repair areas that needed to take place. Sometimes they can't know where all things are when they start working on detention basins under the ground. I think there was a gas easement they had to work around and as I said, do some additional repair work, but it looks really great now.
Yes. And as always in these projects, like you just said, things do come up. So there are things that you can't anticipate, which is what this item actually is, correct?
Right. But I think the important thing is it signals that we're getting closer to having it being fully functional, and that's what the citizens expect, and we're happy to get that put in as an active feature. So.
Yes, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to having less chance of flooding for those big rain events that will be.
I think it's
really.
I think a lot of the work that we've done has really made a significant improvement. I just remember back to the way it was when we first started working on a lot of these improvements, and there was some significant flooding, and it's just, I think over time a lot of impervious surface builds up in a community, and we just needed to take a look at how we could mitigate some of that development. And we've been on a pretty aggressive path to try to not only repair some of our cross connects and some of our manholes that had some leakage issues, but develop some detention basins to try to manage some of that water flow and runoff and things like that. So.
And I think people are really starting to see a difference. I mean, I know Mark has said that he's had calls from residents that are, pleasantly surprised.
Right. I think we can't get too far ahead of ourselves because sometimes, some of the storm events are it's so much volume in such a short period of time that you just can't devise a system that can handle every eventuality, but it's definitely helping.
Definitely a step in the right direction. Great. Next item we want to talk about is an approval of some plan development for a retail and training center building for Goodwill. First off, where exactly is this going to be going?
Well, I believe this is going to be near Menards.
Yes.
For folks to try to place this visually. It's a small site, but I think it'll be a nice building, and it's going to be, I think, east of the Menards building.
Okay.
For people that are trying to place it. But yeah, it's going to be a training center, and we're happy that Goodwill was interested in that parcel, and I think it'll be a nice addition to that whole area. So
very good use of the space that's there.
I think so. Yes.
Wonderful. Next item is authorized purchase of ImageCast Evolution voting equipment from Dominion Voting Systems. So this is more towards the clerk's department area, correct?
It is, yes. Pam Ubrig, our city clerk, has been working on continuously improving her area. She's always trying to think about how she can tweak our system, our voting system, through the use of different just structural things in terms of our staff and our workflow. But this is a change related to the actual equipment itself. And it looks like we have some video of some of our folks, our community members voting. And one thing that's nice about this system, and maybe you can have Pam on another show to go into greater detail, but it takes a lot of the physical downloading and transportation of our voting, out of the process. It's more electronic.
More digital.
It's more digital. It's going to be a lot faster, and that's really what Pam is trying to work toward, to try to get it accurate and efficient and do the best job that she can for the citizens. And she's a very dedicated individual, and we're fortunate to have her in that role, and have been having her in that role for a long time.
And
so
the point you made about continuous improvement is huge. We're always searching to find ways to improve different things throughout the city, and this is just one example. Not only benefiting the employees as far as the how well it works and how quick it goes, but also the residents. We're getting those results out to them that much faster.
Absolutely.
As well.
Folks may not know, but Pam went through a extensive process breaking down every little aspect of the voting process and procedure, and streamlined that up about as well as she possibly could. And then now, adding to that efficiency by this equipment, I think is really going to be an additional improvement. So
wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to hearing what successes will come out of this.
yes.
Next item, we have a couple of items really dealing with the Riverwalk. So we're going to start talking Riverwalk here now.
Okay.
First one is signalized pedestrian crossing on Oregon Street for the Riverwalk. And we talked briefly about this with Mark a couple weeks ago, but let's just kind of revisit it. What exactly is this item referring to, and what's going to be happening?
Sure. It looks like on the screen we have just an overhead visual of some of the little links of the Riverwalk, I guess would be a way to say it. So what we're looking at here is the south side of the river, and the yellow, right where that arrow is pointing, is where this crossover is going to be there at that intersection. I think at some point in the future, the Oregon Street Bridge is going to be redone.
Okay.
And when that's redone, I think there'll be some probably different connections, much like we have in the Wisconsin Street Bridge. But for right now, I think the safest option is the one that Alan Davis and City Manager Roloff have come up with, and that's this pedestrian crossing as it exists right there where that arrow is.
So kind of coming down Oregon Street a little bit, crossing, and then going back towards the shoreline.
Exactly, right. So
Great.
that's going to be an important piece for the connectivity of all of these links that we're going to talk about in a few minutes here.
Also important for the safety aspect of it too, as people are walking the Riverwalk. I know that kind of prevents people from possibly doing some jaywalking and maybe going where they shouldn't be, so that signalized pedestrian crossing is key.
Right, it'll be very safe for them, I think, and inconvenient for them.
Wonderful.
And that's what we're shooting for.
Yes. Next item, also dealing with the Riverwalk, is approve awarding bid to Michael's Foundation for the Geldwin Riverwalk east of Oregon. Tell us a little bit more about that area.
Right. That if we can take a look at the picture that we had up there earlier, and that's the one that we're seeing right now. That's the area there in yellow. So Geldwin was a window manufacturing facility, and it really stretched along that whole area that was marked in blue.
Okay.
And also in yellow. And so this is a closer look now at the actual piece that's going to be put in place based on this bid right here that we're talking about on this agenda. And that's just east of Oregon. And to give people another visual in terms of the proximity of where this piece is, it's really right before the Dockside Restaurant and Tavern, and then also the Boatworks property. So it's that little grassy area just east of Oregon, going right up to the Boatworks property. These are just different views of that. This is a view of that little link from, I believe, the north side of the road.
Wonderful.
So, of the river, I should say. And just as an aside, the plan is to extend this into the Dockside property, and then also move it through the Dockside property, and then up to a property that people know in the area that's called the Granary. It used to be a restaurant. And then the idea is to go across Main Street. It looks like we have kind of an aerial of that there, of that area there, and then go to, if you can see on the right side of your screen, the Pioneer property. So it'll go along Pioneer Drive, and that's a great shot. Just a little closer in, it'll go along Pioneer Drive and end up over at the Pioneer Island. And I think everybody is waiting for that area to be redeveloped again. So I think it hopefully will help with the redevelopment. This is a good visual too to also see 9th Ave. That's a project that we have coming up in the future too. And I believe when 9th Avenue is redone and it goes right directly to Pioneer Island there, I think the opportunity for additional redevelopment at Pioneer Island is just going to be enhanced tremendously. So it's really exciting to see a lot of these different links come together with the Riverwalk.
Exactly, a lot of really exciting and optimistic plans.
It is.
And you know, it really doesn't end quite even there. I mean, we really want to have the entire Riverwalk covering the river.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I know that there's been a lot of work done on the other side of the Geldwin property, and I think that's something that we can talk about on our agenda too.
We'll go back west.
Okay.
Another item on the agenda, actually just immediately following the Geldwin item, is change order for some more construction over at the Boatworks Riverwalk and restroom area. Now this has been a topic we've definitely talked about, and we've kind of been watching it evolve a little bit. So what's the latest and greatest with that one?
Well, if we could just go back, I don't know if, we do have some video shots of that. That's great. Well, we had where we were before in regard to showing that visual of where Geldwin, that manufacturing facility is. This is east of that area now. I'm sorry, west of that area now. So if we were to keep going along the Fox River and go west, this is the area that we're talking about now, towards Ohio Street. And if for people that haven't taken a walk on that Riverwalk area,
cool.
It's very cool.
It's so cool.
It really extends from Ohio Street, and here's some pictures of a bridge that extended. So this is really some good footage. It extends from the Wisconsin Street Bridge. There's a restroom area there, and it's a very interesting walk too. It's not just a straight sidewalk. It's kind of winding through some trees, and there's a restroom and shelter there. I think one of the other future features of this is a potential kayak launching facility.
I was going to mention that. I'm excited about that.
There's a little pedestrian bridge, that people can walk across, which is really neat. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool. It's so much different than the rest of the Riverwalk because it's elevated. And so you can really get a good vantage point and see the other side of the river up at an elevated level. So it's really cool to be able to see that. And one of the really cool parts about this bridge is the old railroad bridge.
Yes.
So that's one of the focal points of this this bridge is that cool bridge. I think it says 1844 or something on it.
Right.
So you can see just how old it is. Another really cool piece of Oshkosh history.
It is cool.
And this is now open, so this is available for people who can take your bike, take a walk over. It does end right at that railroad bridge there, but
it was nice for us to be able to salvage that and keep that piece of history for people to take a look at. It's not too far away from the fishing pier that's there too, for people to kind of use a point of reference visually. So if you can start at a variety of different places, but in this area you can start from the Wisconsin Street Bridge and then just move toward the lake. So this piece is done, and as we said, we still have to fill in those pieces that we talked about earlier over by the Geldwin manufacturing area. We're doing the little piece that goes across Oregon, and then that piece right up to the boat works.
So kind of just trying to fill in that blue area, really.
Exactly right, yes. The red area is going to be a future. If we were to go west of the red area, that's the area we just talked about with a bridge, and that's going to be a future fill-in area. 2015, that yellow area is the area that we're going to be working on right now. So we just really need to fill in that area, the blue and the red, and then that area that goes through the Boatworks property all the way to the lake, and then it'll be pretty fun. People can take it all the way from the lake all the way back. So
just amazing. I think it's got to be a really cool feeling. I've only been here for 2 or 3-ish years, and I remember the first month I started working here was the ribbon cutting over by Beckett's and Ground Round for the Riverwalk. And even since then, we've come so far with the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what the feeling is for you
Oh,
and
it's
for the city that, they've been waiting for something like this.
I would say a couple things that I think are noteworthy. I mean, number one, I think Alan Davis does a great job securing grant funds. Because we have so much open river area that we've reclaimed the riverfront from these industrial areas, the DNR really likes to give grants out to people that they know are going to do something with their money, so they can showcase, how their money was spent. And because we have all this available land, we're really at the top of the list for a lot of the grant monies that are available because we can put it into action right away. So that's one good thing. The other good thing I would say is, people that are visitors, like for example at the Best Western premiere, they love all this Riverwalk stuff too because they're there, they're visiting, they can kind of walk, and explore the whole riverfront area. And I think when we get all the links in where people can kind of walk around the whole loop, go down to the Pioneer Island, I think it's really going to be cool. And I think it's something that certainly the citizens can be very proud of.
Yes. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait to get out there. And like you mentioned, there's the kayak launch that eventually will be going in there. I know they have the dock sitting on the land there, so they're just kind of waiting for a few other things to fall into place before that. But there's just such a great amount of things here in Oshkosh, and I think we have that to be proud of. So
absolutely.
Great update on the Riverwalk. A lot to talk about as always. So thanks for that update, John.
You're welcome.
Last thing that is on our list that we'd like to mention here are the future agenda items. The 2016 budget workshop coming up on August 26th at 5 p.m. in room 404. That'll be broadcast live on City Cable 10. It will also be on 101.9 FM on the radio if you're unable to catch it on TV. It does get replayed on our website as well at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. And we're kind of getting a little bit into that budget process. So how's it been going so far, John? And
I think it's been going very well. I think, I don't want to speak for the council members, but I have a real sense that they feel comfortable with it. We have some veteran council members and we have a few new ones that are on, but I think going through the process and having a regular repetitive process in terms of here's where we start and this is where we want to end up, I think it's helpful for everybody involved because there's no surprises.
Goes more smoothly.
Right, things will go more smoothly. They'll know what we're all trying to wrestle with together to try to preserve as many services as we can for the citizens. And but I think it's things are looking up a little bit, certainly economically, and I feel a lot better about our budget this year than I have in years past. But
that's great.
We have a ways to go.
Yes. Always do. So thank you for the updates. That's going to do it for this episode. We are just about out of time. So, John, I'd like to thank you one more time for sitting in for Mark today. It's been a great time chatting with you today.
Thank you, Emily. It's always a pleasure.
Again, the City Council meeting is this Tuesday, August 11th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on City Cable 10 and on our website at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. You can also listen to it at 101.9 WOCT, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for mobile devices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter for all your community and government programming and updates, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And last of all, if you have a question for Mark, you can send it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. As always, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.